Hey folks, it's Cody Stoffer with Playmakers Corner, here to tell you about Code Red coaching. Competing in athletics means you've lifted the weights, you've watched film, and you've got the passion. Problem is, that's what everyone else in the state has done. Perfect your game by honing in on your mental performance with Code Red coaching. Whether you are a team or an individual, Code Red coaching has the tools to create mentally solid habits and set up you or your team for success. Find Code Red Coaching at coderedcoaching.com or call 720-979-1914 to learn more today. That's coderedcoaching.com or 720-979-1914 today. Now back to the show.
My name is Noah Triplett. I'm a running back for Dakota Ridge, and I'm the class of 2023. And you're listening to Playmakers Corner.
Yes, sir. And what a way to kick into this episode here, hosted by myself, Cody Stoffer. And if you can't pick up on the hint here, we are doing our interview series here where we get to talk to players from around the state, kind of get their side of the story and, get to know them better and let the audience, you, the listeners, get to know them better as well. And so, Noah, thank you so much for that intro and thanks for joining us here today, man.
Of course.
So, this is actually not your first rodeo. You're one of the few athletes that we've ever had two interviews with. So, thanks for taking the time the second time. And, there might be some changes of answers from 2 years ago to now. So we're looking forward to seeing that change and whatnot. And, I guess the first chance for something that may have changed, maybe not have changed is, we like to know kind of what sports mean to you on a personal level. And I guess in that sense, we try and ask, what is your favorite experience or memory while playing sports? Now, obviously, you've had a beast of a football career. So, I feel like there's definitely a lot to choose from there. But if it's from some other sport that you played, or if it's from when you were young and maybe the moment you fell in love with football, or, something from these past few years, what is just your favorite, experience in sports and athletics?
Yeah, that's definitely a hard kind of thing to discern, I guess. But definitely that Longmont game that you were at was one of my favorite games of all time. Like just being going back and forth with that Longmont QB that's now at USC was crazy. That was a crazy game for sure. And then definitely the Montrose game my sophomore year was a crazy experience. I think we put up I want to say 76 against them, which was just like absurd because that was a year that only 8 teams made it. So that was in the quarterfinals to put up 76 was just like almost surreal. And then another good experience from when I was younger playing lacrosse was the World Series of Youth Lacrosse. Like me, Hank Zelinskis, and Tanner Morley all played on the same defense right there, and that was pretty solid.
No way. Are you serious?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's a small world, man.
Yes, sir.
I guess I did not know that with Zelinskis and Tanner Morley. That is,
yes, sir.
Obviously, shout out to the football memories, but I just have to comment that, man. Do you follow Tub Eats on TikTok, man? Tanner Morley's eating channel.
Of course, that's a great channel right there.
Dude, y'all have to do a collab sometime.
Sure,
I think that'd be a great crossover there. That's wow. I'm like still reeling from the fact that y'all were all on the same defense. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
But talking about the football memories, yeah, 76-34 is definitely more of a basketball score in my experience.
Sure.
But y'all came to play that day, and it was like an all-you-could-score touchdown buffet, man. I mean, everybody was getting in on that, and you hogged 3 to yourself, but no worries on that. You gave other people a chance to score, so I think that that's a pretty dope memory. 76 points in a playoff game is absurd,
crazy.
Dude.
Yeah.
What were they doing? Not to throw Montrose under the bus too hard, but oh my god.
Yeah, I think it was mostly like our pregame speech too with the coaches because we only played our conference. And for whatever the reason that year, like the Jeffco 4A was not that good. And our offensive coordinator especially just kind of gave us the like, people don't think you're as good as you are because you haven't played anybody, and go out and make a statement tonight. And we did it.
Yeah, that was a statement for sure. And I mean, between that and yeah, no, that Longmont game was a lot of fun to watch. I mean, it was just so explosive, and it's not 76, but 56 is also a pretty good score in its own right. And it looked like you were having a lot of fun out there, man. And you made some serious plays that night, and it was awesome. And we'll get a chance to talk. God, you really almost had 300 yards. That's nuts. Well, that's just rushing. That's not even counting other ways that you contributed from scrimmage. So there you go. But we'll double back to that for sure. There's plenty of good to talk about with your game, and we had a great chance to do that with our rankings. But just dialing it back just a hair here and talking about being a fan and kind of, I find a lot of athletes end up watching sports and whatnot. So what is your favorite sport viewing experience? This could be a live game that you attended. This could be a game that you saw on television where you saw your favorite team win something big, or, if you have, if say you were growing up and watched Dakota Ridge High School or something like that. What is your favorite experience as a fan of sports?
So definitely I was really young, but it was the year the Broncos got smacked in the Super Bowl versus Seahawks, the snap over the head, Peyton Manning. The game before that, the AFC Championship, I went to that and got to see Brady versus Manning, like one of the last times. And I was always like a big fan. I don't know if you remember Trendon Holiday. He was like a returner for the Broncos back in the day.
Oh, I remember Trendon, man. He was electric.
Yeah, he was my dude growing up. I mean, I think me and my dad got there like some ridiculously early to watch everybody warm up. That was definitely one of my favorite memories for sure. Watching Brady versus Manning, and then Von Miller had a great game too. I remember he had a pick and at least 2 sacks, and Mile High was electric right there for sure.
Yeah, no, that was a great game, and it's always nice when you get to beat Brady. So it's cool that you were there. See, when you started it off, you had me worried. I thought you were going to say that the snap over his head was your – I was like, wait, am I talking to a Seahawks fan right now? No. So, but, I definitely got to agree. That's a really fun one. And, Trendon Holiday, I could definitely see that a little bit on how that could be a little bit of an influence. It's an easy, kind of comparison, especially, I mean, look, I'm not particularly tall myself. I'm 5'9", so there's not a lot of us out there in the league. But when you see them, it's always really exciting.
Yeah.
And so I guess let's talk about you. Talk about your game here. And I think that since you brought up Trendon Holiday, I think that it's appropriate to kind of slide this question up. Who is somebody that, whether it was growing up or recently, that you've tried to model your game after? As far as athletes or running backs, and this could be high school, college, or professional, and feel free to list a couple of guys because you are a very well-rounded back, so I'd imagine there's plenty of influences to draw from.
Yeah, so definitely when I was younger, there was a running back by the name of Jeremy Lujan that I really looked up to and tried to model my game after, and I feel like we kind of had similar kind of skills there, I guess. And obviously Christian McCaffrey, like being a Colorado dude, is a huge influence, and like the way he's able to catch the ball out of the backfield is insane. But recently, especially during the playoff run, I've been watching a lot of Isaiah Pacheco, how hard he runs. That dude's a dog. I definitely have been taking a little bit of notes from him. Just the ferociousness he runs with is insane. Top tier for sure.
Absolutely. And he had himself a solid game. And I'll take this quick moment. I always forget to do this. So the people who listen to interview after interview will hear me go, oh, and by the way, this was recorded on February 13th. So, this is just a day after the Super Bowl. It's still fresh in the mind. And I think that those are all great examples. And yeah, I mean, especially, see, I was a freshman when Christian was a senior. So I wasn't a huge fan of him because he would literally he would annihilate us, man. He was a one-man army. But at Arapahoe, or one of our buddies who's a coach now on the college level, he played at Ralston Valley, and he was on Christian McCaffrey's highlight reel, which is not a great place to be because that means Christian McCaffrey scored. So, but for y'all that didn't have to experience the juggernaut of Christian McCaffrey, I mean, from a Colorado standpoint, he is
Yeah.
one of the best to come out of here. And, from that perspective, I'm rooting for him. And, yeah, I think that's a great athlete to base your game off of, especially versatility wise. And like you said, catching out of the backfield, something that he just did so well.
One guy definitely missed on that, like influence in your game is, who Max Borghi is, right? He was probably around when you were around at Pomona.
Yes, I remember Max Borghi.
That dude's a dude too. That's somebody that I definitely watched growing up.
Gosh, Max Borghi. Oh, you're giving me nightmares, bro.
He's so underrated though. I mean, he took a chip from McCaffrey, didn't he? Like they won one for sure at Pomona.
Yeah, they won one in that time when Borghi was there. And yeah, no, those Pomona squads of like 2010 through like 20, yeah, I want to say like 2018 were pretty serious, man.
Yeah. And I mean now Madden's doing it over at Legacy, so I wouldn't be surprised if they'll come up too for sure.
Yeah, they performed very, very well this season with a pretty young team nonetheless.
Yep.
So and Legacy's another one of those teams that just has athletes. I mean, that Broomfield area, Broomfield did a lot what they needed to do to try and win some of that recruitment, but no, that definitely helps.
Definitely.
So, and I guess I kind of want to give you the chance here to kind of react to our evaluation of your game. I think I did the Twitch breakdown of you last year, and Simon did as well. I read his notes, and we had a chance to revisit you, and obviously it was a different situation this year. You had a lot of guys who graduated from last year, and I think that you adapted your game very well given the new cast of characters. But what was kind of your reaction to our evaluation that saw you land at an 87.75 there?
I mean, I appreciate you guys. There's not a lot of guys like at 247 or like the major sports rankings that even put me with any stars. So that's definitely heavily appreciated. I mean, I definitely agree with it, but I think like there's still certain areas I can improve in. Like I'm trying to get better at beating people in the open field too. Like that's something that I'm working with, that you'll see I'm working with Coach Damon Boz with Matt Skills for sure a bunch with. And also it's like something that like I'm definitely not the tallest dude, but when I went to camps and something that kind of surprised me like this summer, like obviously it's not with the pads on, so it's a little different when you get in a game situation, but I was able to make like a lot more contested catches than you would expect with people right on me. And I just think that was like part of my game that I didn't necessarily like get to showcase. So that's probably the only thing I would say. Like people definitely underestimate me like being able to go up and get the ball, but I definitely can if you just give me a shot to.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate, and this is exactly why we let the athletes talk, because I mean, we do our best here at PMC, but the three of us obviously can't go to camps across the country and stuff like that. So, that's why we have you on here, and we appreciate you putting that out there. And I mean, obviously it all added up to success for you here in the end. And we'll get to that in just a moment. But, you kind of talked about it just a little bit as far as, you feel very strongly in your ability to make contested catches and whatnot. And I guess what are some other qualities that you think not only separate you from other players, whether that's in the state, in your conference, but maybe in the country potentially, that you just feel very strongly that you do very well on top of your contested catch ability?
I would say one of my better traits is definitely like my acceleration, like once I hit the hole. And then definitely I really try to run with like crazy physicality and just get mad, like I feel like maybe like a successful play for the defense is stopping me for 5 yards, you know what I'm saying? And that's halfway to a first down. And then also like just like especially this year, me and my running back coach and even the line coach sometimes have helped me out, specifically with Dakota's scheme, to kind of know like where my zone rolls are coming from and like how these down blocks are going to open up this lane here or that lane there kind of thing. So knowledge of the game too.
Hey, we always like to hear about the cerebral players, and we would definitely have to agree with the acceleration. I mean, that was my highest grade for you, and it was Coach V's second highest grade for you. So don't think that goes overlooked, but it is one of the strongest traits, and I do think it does separate you quite a bit. So we just want to echo that for sure, and salute you on that, as well as the growth that you made in the mental aspect of the game. And so, you talked about Dakota's scheme here,
Mhm.
and I guess that's a good time to kind of talk about, this season. Obviously, you guys had a lot of players graduate in that class of 22, and
Yep.
I think that it wasn't really sure like who is going to do what this season. And I guess what were the expectations coming into the season, and what were some things that you can be proud of and this team can be proud of? And then what are some lessons that you hope some of the younger players take away as they try and continue this, continued excellence of this Dakota Ridge program?
Yeah. So coming into the season, I mean, we definitely thought we were going to have a better outcome than definitely what happened. I mean, coming off like a crazy loss in the quarterfinals last year and losing a quarterback, but then getting one to transfer in was definitely like a huge part of our confidence kind of increasing there. And definitely, I'm proud of like how we fought towards the end of the year there. I mean, we were in a game with a good Loveland team, and it was like it was a it was like a if I do have to say so, an iffy spot on first down and an or a turnover in the red zone that kind of separated that game for us there. So it was like this whole season kind of felt like we were so close, but kind of so far at the same time, And I mean, we went through the ringer with our schedule, and I mean, to come out mostly competitive in every game, I guess that's something to be proud of for sure. And then something I would tell the young guys is probably like, don't necessarily read your clip, your everything you see on social media with our rankings and everything, because we were preseason number one there for a second. So definitely don't get too inflated on the preseason rankings and just work.
Don't listen to the media all the time. We were definitely a little bit a part of that, but I guess it is one of those things where, and I think that you see this at places like everyone. I know that most people roll their eyes, but I hate to do it. But bring up Creek. They're a team where they're 0-0 every week, and that's whether they are facing somebody that they've beat 8 years in a row, or whether they're facing someone from out of state. And I think that that's a great message to pass on to some of these young guys. Is obviously we're gonna say what we want, and our job, or at least the way Coach V and I look at it, is we're just trying to promote you guys. So, these preseason rankings, it's just one more click for like coaches to investigate programs and stuff like that. And, we really do try and do our best here, but that's why football is such a great sport. You never know what's going to happen. You never know. So I think that's a great lesson to impart. And y'all did have y'all's schedule was kind of crazy. I'm not going to lie. This is like, I'm looking at it again, and obviously I was thinking about it in real time too, but I mean, geez Louise, there's like, I think even Rampart made the playoffs too. You only played one non-playoff team all season. So
right. Yeah. And that was a key game, so it wasn't like we had a chance of getting out of that either. It wasn't like we scheduled it. It's just kind of got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, and it was just league, and I mean, you still had to go to Grand Junction, which is like a trial in itself. What I had to play against Grand Junction, they used to be in our league for some reason back when I was like a sophomore. So they have to play somebody. They're a high school with a football team, and so that presents its own challenges too.
Yeah, that was the worst week of my life. I remember I had like the worst food poisoning ever. And like on the ride to Grand Junction, I was like just totally like pounding Pedialyte and sweating it out. And it was,
oh my God.
I mean, it was crazy for sure. But I mean, we suited it up and we did our jobs that week. Blake had a really good game and definitely helped the offense out for sure.
Yeah, geez, that is not the kind of bus. Any other game, it would have been fine to just deal with a short bus ride, but that is just not the week to be sick. But On the flip side, you won. And I tell you what, winning the bus ride from Grand Junction is way better if you win. I never had to be on a losing bus ride from Grand Junction, but I can't imagine sitting in silence for 4 hours. So that's good.
That's good. For sure.
Yeah, I think that that's a good reflection on this season. And I guess while we're talking about Dakota Ridge, since we're already here, before we transition to kind of your next facet of your life, who are some players that we should watch out for, or maybe the listeners should look out for? I mean, you mentioned Blake, obviously, and we know about him on our radar, but who are some other guys that are going to be, picking up a lot of slack around, this team that's going to look pretty different from this time to the fall?
For sure. I would say definitely our pair of inside linebackers, Connor Swanson and Braden Cusick, both all conference guys. And then we had a right tackle this year who was pretty raw within Zach Wolfenfinger. Owen Wolfenfinger is his brother, and he'll be pretty good. I mean, he's a young dude, but he puts on some weight and he'll be nasty. And then obviously the freshman and Landon Cowsback and Jack Offerdahl, Charlie Offerdahl's little brother. So they'll be good too. So I don't know. I got a feeling they might be pretty young this year, but in a couple of years, they'll definitely be a team to watch out for, contending for sure.
Yeah, to have that loaded of a young class is always nice, and we appreciate being the first to know per usual. But yeah, and at one point you were one of those young players, right? When the last time that you opened up Skype, you were just coming off of your sophomore season, right? Mm-hmm. And you've come a long way since then. And you obviously in case I didn't mention it before, in case the audience didn't know, first off, go listen to our top 2023 class Colorado running backs episode. But Noah here was crowned number 1 on averages here, so congrats on that. And obviously you've been doing this, like you've been putting up numbers, you've been putting up good performances, and I guess you are getting ready for that next phase of your life. And I guess so, where are you committed to, and what did your recruitment journey kind of look like, just for the audience sake?
I'm committed to Drake University out in Iowa. And my recruitment was definitely like something that I thought was I thought I was like a player that would have a lot of options on the board. And I mean, I ended up with Adams State, Colorado Mesa, and Drake. And I just really like Drake getting out to a new town there in Des Moines, Iowa, a chance to play FCS ball and play at a really high level, and also get a great education. I mean, it's a really good school. Set myself up for the rest of my life after football, hopefully. Nice.
No, yeah, that's I would have to agree a little bit here that and this is a factor of a couple of things. We kind of talked about it on the episode, Coach V and I, but the value of the running back is just kind of in a weird spot in football now. But you did everything that you needed to do as far as being versatile. I mean, that's what you need to be as a running back now, so that's good. And I guess while it was more of a grind here, I mean, you still obviously landed at a pretty decent spot here.
For sure. Definitely excited about it.
Sweet. And I guess what are some things that, you were talking about the high level, and you were talking about how they're strong academic, but what are some other kind of boxes that Drake checks off here that you're excited for and you were kind of looking for when looking at schools to potentially commit to?
I mean, definitely a team that kind of has a physical brand of football that, I mean, they kind of set everything up off the run game, a chance to play in some different formations, to anywhere from like spread to the I formation, which will be crazy for sure. And then just really like the brand of football and the brand of like guy that they'll produce out of you. A lot of tough-nosed guys up there, and I mean, just hard workers, really. I'm excited for that, definitely.
And it sounds like you'll fit right in, man, with just your work ethic and as well as who you are as a football player. I mean, we talked about it, and I definitely will say that, those videos of you lifting had something to do with our evaluation, because you're like, damn, bro, this dude, he's going to be squatting the whole rack by next season. So that's awesome. And, we're very excited for you. And I guess, what are some things that you're going to try and work on, or some things that you're going to try and improve, leading up to Drake? I mean, you kind of talked about working on that open field kind of movement, but what are some other kind of goals you have before getting to Drake? And then once you get to Drake, what are some goals that you have?
So before I get there, I want to make sure like I'm 100% ready to kick or return punts and kicks, and then really just have myself in shape to play if they want me to play a red shirt either way. And once I get there, eventually I want to be all Pioneer League, Pioneer Offensive Player of the Year, and hopefully someday FCS All-American. Really, those are probably my 3 big goals when I get there.
And go ahead.
Go ahead. You're good.
I was just gonna say, those are, a lot of people are kind of, they're not sure what their goals are, but I like how concrete those goals are. Those are very measurable goals. And, knowing you as a dude, and knowing you as an athlete as well, and watching you and watching the film, and, I feel like a lot of people will see our rankings, be like, what are these guys talking about? But what they don't realize is, I mean, I've seen you live. I mean, I was at that Longmont game. I was at the Rampart game last season. We had somebody at the Golden versus y'all's game last season. Obviously I made it to the Broomfield game this year as well. Like, and Simon made it to the Pueblo West game this year as well. So that's like 5 times that we've seen you. We've seen what you could do in a full game capacity as well as on the highlights. And, we're very excited, and we definitely think you've earned every bit of that, and anything that you put your mind to, man, we're wishing the best for you. And we know that it is definitely attainable, dude.
Yes, sir.
So, and of course, man. Hey, you earned it. So that's just facts talking. And we're kind of getting towards the end of the interview here. And I guess, what is some advice that you would give to, whether it's athletes that are just entering high school, as far as, navigating high school athletics, or what is some advice that you'd like to pass on to, people going through the recruiting process, or just aspiring college athletes now that you're, near the end of your high school experience?
Definitely for high school, I would just try to, have fun with it at some capacity, for sure. Because, I haven't gotten to the next level yet, but everybody that I've talked to says there's nothing like playing high school football or high school sports in general. You're playing with some of your best friends, so make sure you enjoy it. And if you're aspiring to be a college athlete, I think it's like, maybe 3% get to play football out of everybody. And then it's like 1% D1. You got to work to be in that 3 or 1%, whatever you aspire to be, you got to definitely push yourself, push your body, push your mind. And with that work, you'll be there for sure.
I think that's obviously great advice. And, we like the range of advice that we get on the show as well. I think that it is a little bit overlooked, especially, trying to, look at offers and, sending film out, and you could easily get lost in that. So the fact that you were able to still enjoy, those games, I bet it's pretty easy to enjoy when you rush for like 2 touchdowns and 200 yards, or you literally just obliterate a team with 5 touchdowns. But, I think that no matter who you are, no matter what level you play at, that is something that every football player is able to do. And those numbers sound accurate, man. Limited roster spots, and, no disrespect to any baseball players, but that's not America's pastime no more. It's definitely football, man. Look at those Super Bowl numbers and whatnot, and those ratings, and you'll definitely find that. So I guess now that we're at this point in the interview, this is a part where we like to give our athletes a chance to just kind of shout anyone out. So take as much time as you need to thank anybody who's been important to your academic or athletic career. This could be friends, families, coaches, teachers, or fellow players.
For sure. Of course, I'd like to thank my mom and my dad. You know, I wouldn't be there without them, without their advice. And then secondly, definitely Coach Woj, Coach Berenson, Coach Osterhaus, Coach Schultz, pretty much all the coaches on the Dakota Ridge staff, and Coach Kyle for sure. But that was a huge part of me having the motivation and the means to be able to be where I'm at now. And then Aaron Lewis with A-Flex Performance has definitely helped me with the programs and the weightlifting to put up some of those numbers that you'll see on Twitter. And then lastly, Mad Skills and Damon Vaz. He really, I mean, there's really nobody else doing it like in Colorado like he is. I mean, just pure cut specialist. I mean, making you be able to change directions like on a dime like crazy. So those are probably the guys I would shout out. And actually, yeah, Jack Rons too for pushing me in the weight room, getting after it for sure.
Yeah, it always helps to have those teammates that push you. And you know, we've had a chance to talk to Damon. Obviously, you know, Bryce was our number one running back last year, amidst a bunch of controversy, but you know, we still stand by that. We still stand by that. And you know, I think that obviously, you know, you could see the improvements, and we like seeing all those drills. And we could definitely call Damon a friend of the podcast for sure, because anytime we see him, because he's always doing scouting too, looking for running backs to improve their game. So, you know, I think that that's a good fit there. And you know, I respect all the work that you're putting in. And, you know, on behalf of myself, Coach V, and I know that you didn't get a chance to meet Gideon, but on behalf of all of us here, man, you are PMCFam for life, man. And we appreciate all the time and all the interaction that you've had with the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure covering you since we started, man. You've been here all 3 years for our coverage, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate you guys too. You guys are doing it right for sure. I think you guys will blow up for sure. You've already kind of seen it a little bit with the interaction and the hype kind of building with you guys, but it will just keep growing for sure.
Appreciate that, man. And you know, but maybe when we do hit that big explosion, we're gonna use that soundbite right there and be like, Noah Triplett, he knew, man. He's been the truth, and we knew about Triplett. Triplett knew about us. But yeah, no, that's awesome. And once again, big thanks. And once again, that was Noah Triplett, the number one running back here in the class of 2023 here in Colorado, here at Playmakers Corner. And, you know, for that full episode, be sure to find us anywhere you listen to podcasts, whether you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or Anchor, any of those places. Or, you know, you might be watching this on YouTube potentially, or listening to this on YouTube. Or if you're not, be sure to find us on YouTube, Playmakers Corner. For other video media as well, we are on Twitch. We're going to be coming back to Twitch at some point, Playmakers Corner on there as well. And then we got TikToks with little highlights as well as descriptions and clips from our players on there that we've covered. So be sure to find us on TikTok, Playmakers Corner. And if you want to see announcements for any episodes, you can turn on those notifications for any of those for us, or you can be sure to follow us on social media, whether that be Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. We're at Playmakers Corner, except for Twitter, we are at Playmaker Corner. Be sure to follow us all. And until next time, I've been your host, Cody Stauffer, and peace.